You were just trying to do one normal thing on your laptop. Pay a bill, check email, maybe buy something you already meant to buy yesterday. Then the screen suddenly snaps into panic mode. Big warning, big red letters, big phone number. And in a second, the computer feels like it is ordering you around. That is the trick. A fake pop-up can look like it belongs to a well-known company and push you to call. The scary part is not just the message. It is that the message is trying to move you off the screen and onto a call, where the other person can take over the pace. Real security pop-up warnings do not ask you to call a phone number. And that is where the trap can start to expand. The call can lead to remote access, fake scans, and pressure to pay. So the number matters before anything else happens. The reason this works is simple. It feels urgent and believable at the same time. The pop-up looks real enough to make you hesitate. And that tiny pause is exactly what the trap wants. Once you're on the phone, the stranger can talk fast, sound calm, and keep the fear going. But the warning itself is the clue. Real security pop-up warnings and messages will not ask you to call a phone number. And legit tech companies do not show up out of nowhere by phone, email, or text to say there's a problem with your computer. So if the screen is telling you to dial now, that is not help waiting on the other end. It's bait. What makes it dangerous is how little time the scam needs. A few seconds of belief is enough to keep the whole thing moving. Next comes the part where the fake help starts asking for access, and that's where the situation turns. Here is the part people miss. The phone number is not a helpline. It is the bridge. Once you call, the trap can move from a scary screen to a live conversation with someone who gets to steer everything. The fake tech support warning may push you to call, then ask for remote access to your computer. That is the moment it changes shape. It's a little like handing a stranger your keys because they said the front door looked weird. The whole point is to get from a warning on the screen to control over the device. And real warnings do not work that way. Real security pop-up warnings and messages do not tell you to call a phone number. And legit tech companies do not contact people by phone, email, or text to say there's a problem with their computer. If the message starts with a number, treat the number as the red flag. After the pop-up gets your attention, the act often shifts into a fake scan. The impersonator may ask for remote access and then pretend to scan your computer for viruses. That is not a fix. It is the part that keeps the whole performance moving. The screen starts looking busy. The bars start dancing. Suddenly, the situation feels technical, which is exactly why it works. If the scan finds a pile of problems in seconds, that is not magic. It is pressure. The scammer is trying to make you believe the machine is in danger, so you will keep following instructions. That is the real move here. Fear first, then control. Once the fake scan has done its job, the story can start shifting toward bigger demands. The pop-up was only the opening act. The next step is often about getting more access, more trust, or more time on the line. Now the trap can change costume. In the layered version, the scam does not stop at the computer. One person plays tech support. Then another voice may step in as your financial institution. Then sometimes another shows up pretending to be the government. Each new voice is there to make the last one feel more believable. That layering is the point. It makes the story feel checked and rechecked from every angle, when really it is all one pressure machine. The goal is to make money feel urgent, like something is already in danger and needs to be moved fast. Once that panic starts, the fake helper gets to sound calm and official, which is a pretty convenient costume for someone causing the problem. So the scam is no longer just a weird screen. It becomes a path toward accounts and money. The details can shift, but the feeling stays the same. And once the panic is high enough, the payment requests can get ugly fast. The whole point is not convenience. It is to get money moving in a way that is hard to undo, while the person on the other end is still thinking, I just need to fix this. That is the leverage. The computer problem becomes a money problem. Then the money problem becomes an urgency problem. And that urgency is meant to knock your judgment offline for a minute. In the layered Phantom Hacker version, the scam keeps stacking fake roles to build trust and target accounts. First the tech help voice, then the bank voice, then the government voice. Same pressure, different mask. The consequence is often that people are pushed farther than they meant to go. The costume may change, but the playbook does not. What matters now is noticing when the help starts sounding like a rescue plan that wants control more than it wants to solve anything. So here is the midpoint question. How do you tell it is a trap before you hand over control? The answer is almost annoyingly simple. Real security pop-up warnings do not ask you to call a number. Legit tech companies do not call, email, or text you out of nowhere to say your computer has a problem. That matters because the scam depends on making the fake path feel more urgent than the safe one. A warning box can look official enough to make you act first and inspect later. But the phone number is the hook. And the next step can be remote access, with somebody pretending to scan your computer for viruses. Once that happens, the problem is no longer just a scary message on the screen. So the safer move is to slow the scene down. Do not treat the pop-up as a support channel. Close the path, avoid unknown remote access, and use the support route you choose independently. The warning may look loud, but the tell is simple. Real help does not start by demanding your attention that way. The safer move is boring, which is usually how you know it is the right one. Close the pop-up path. Do not call the number. Do not let an unknown person into your computer. Then, use a support path you choose separately, not the one the pop-up handed you. That matters because the scam is built around getting you to stay inside its own doorway. A fake tech support warning can start with a pop-up that looks like it is from a well-known company and pushes a phone number. Once you make that call, the next step can be remote access to your computer, with the person pretending to scan it for viruses. That's the funnel. If you shut the doorway, you cut off the easiest way for the trap to keep moving. Real security pop-up warnings and messages do not ask you to call a phone number. And legit tech companies do not contact people by phone, email, or text to say there is a problem with their computer. What if you already called, or even let someone in? Then the risk shifts from panic to cleanup. The safest next move is to get back to a support path you control, and treat the earlier call as a warning sign, not a normal service visit. If payment information or accounts were involved, the stakes get bigger fast. That's the part the scam counts on you not wanting to think about yet. The fake warning is only the opening move. The pop-up can push someone toward a phone number, then the scammer can ask for remote access and pretend to scan the computer for viruses. Once that door is open, the layered version can start stacking impersonators to increase trust and target accounts. So the problem is not just the scary message, it's the chain reaction it can set off. I'm not going to pretend every case looks the same, because it does not. But once control leaves your hands, the question changes from, is this warning real, to, what did I just hand over? If this trap works so often, it is not because everyone is gullible. It is because the setup hits a normal reflex. Something looks broken. The screen screams urgency. A voice sounds helpful. And the fastest way out seems to be following the instructions handed to you by the thing that scared you in the first place. That is the mechanism. A fake pop-up can push someone toward a phone number. Then the impersonator may ask for remote access and pretend to scan the computer for viruses. Once you hand over that connection, the trap is no longer just a noisy box on a screen. It becomes an active doorway. Real security pop-up warnings do not ask people to call a phone number, and legit tech companies do not contact people by phone, email, or text to say there is a problem with their computer. So if the next step demands urgency, a call, or remote access, that is the clue to slow down. Treat the number itself as part of the warning sign. Close the path, and choose a support route you start independently. So, the pattern to watch is not just a weird pop-up. It is fake help, fake urgency, fake authority, fake relief. That is the same family of trap, whether it starts with a browser warning or a support call or the layered version that keeps stacking impersonators. The costume can change, the pressure stays familiar. The move is simple and ugly. A fake pop-up can push someone toward a phone number. Then the scammer can ask for remote access and pretend to scan the computer for viruses. Once that door is open, the story can keep moving into bigger claims and bigger pressure. The layered version uses tech support, financial institution, and government impersonators to increase trust and target accounts. So the warning box is often the front door. That is why a normal troubleshooting moment can become a money problem fast. Real warnings do exist, which is exactly why the trap gets traction. But real security pop-up warnings do not ask people to call a phone number. And legit tech companies do not contact people by phone, email, or text to say there's a problem with their computer. Bottom line, if a pop-up pushes you to call a number, treat that number as part of the warning, not the cure. A fake tech support warning can start with a pop-up that looks like it is from a well-known company and urges you to call. Real security pop-up warnings and messages will not ask you to call a phone number. And legit tech companies will not contact you by phone, email, or text to say there's a problem with your computer. The danger is what comes after the call. The impersonator may ask for remote access to a computer and pretend to scan it for viruses. The layered version can stack tech support, financial institution, and government impersonators together to increase trust and target accounts. That's how a fake computer emergency can turn into a money emergency. So the safer move is simple. Close the path, do not hand over unknown remote access, and use a support route you choose independently. If this was useful, tap like and subscribe. And drop a comment. What's the one giveaway that would make you close a pop-up immediately?